This episode is brought to you by the Denver Botanic Gardens Chatfield Farms. Because there's still time to light up the holidays at Trail of Lights Chatfield Farms. Wander a glittering path of lights through the quiet Colorado countryside and enjoy hot beverages, nuts, kettle corn, caramels, and fudge, which are available for purchase. You'll see the historic Hildebrand Ranch House and 19th century schoolhouse decorated with holiday lights. I mean, the hot chocolate is obviously most appealing to me because it keeps me warm, along with my Uggs. But, you know what? I'm not going to say. I actually had kettle corn yesterday. I will have kettle corn. Tis the season. It's perfect. Trail of Lights runs through January 11th and is open on Christmas Eve, New Year's Eve, and New Year's Day. Tickets must be purchased in advance. Get yours today at botanicgardens.org. Today on CityCast Denver. State Senator Julie Gonzales wants voters to send her to Congress, but she's challenging John Hickenlooper, current U.S. Senator and former governor of Colorado and mayor of Denver, who has never lost a statewide election. Does that make her an underdog? The Senadora joins me today to talk about why she's taking on this race and what could set her apart in the eyes of Colorado voters. Today is Monday, December 15th. I'm Bree Davies, and here's what Denver's talking about. Okay, before we get into the show, I want to give a huge shout out to the folks who became CityCast Denver neighbors during our winter membership campaign last week. Seriously, we know it's a lot to ask in this time and this climate, but that's why it's so important that you joined us. You're helping local journalism happen every day. And your support means so much to us. And that means we get to meet you hopefully soon at one of our upcoming member events. And we'll get to share your local shout outs on the podcast. Our membership campaign officially wrapped on Friday, but here's the simple truth. We didn't quite make our goals. So if you've been meaning to join, but you haven't yet, we still really need you. Join us at membership.citycast.fm, and I promise we still have some of those cool CityCast Denver beanies left to give you, so claim one of those bad boys right now and sign up to become a member. Becoming a CityCast Denver neighbor costs just $10 a month, so you can support me, yes, me, and this whole small but mighty team that makes this podcast and newsletter happen 5 days a week. Go to membership.citycast.fm and sign up. Senadora Julie Gonzales, welcome back to CityCast Denver.
Hey, Bree. It's great to see you and so glad to be here.
How's the campaign been going? Real talk.
Real talk. I am so excited, also overwhelmed. I feel like I can't respond to all of the things quickly enough. And what a beautiful place to be in, right?
That's a good problem to have.
Exactly. Where there is so much energy and momentum coming through on the socials, on my DMs, emails, and my text messages. If I haven't gotten back to you, I'm sorry. I'm working on it.
It's not personal. It's not personal. Well, okay. This campaign, I Googled your name and your campaign announcement, and Hickenlooper's campaign site came up. Why is this happening?
Oh, it's back up?
Every time I Google you, your name, and something about the campaign, it comes up sponsored. It's now a sponsored post to go to John Hickenlooper's site.
I think that he doesn't trust the voters enough to, discern the fact that the Chicana with the hoops and the lipstick and the lowriders is going to get confused with, Hickenlooper and the banjo. Like, trust the voters. Like,
I would say it's a campaign strategy, though, right?
Yeah.
Like, you didn't have your SEO on point, maybe?
I'm sure. And also, actually on launch day, those ads stopped. And so it's kind of surprising to see them back up again. So it is what it is. And you know what? Like, I don't need to focus on that because I'm really actually focused on connecting with people, connecting with Coloradans, knowing that folks won't be confused by these silly online tricks. At the end of the day, the world is on fire, and this really is about who gets to control the most important decisions of your life, whether those are billionaires and oligarchs, whether this is, the rogue ICE agents who decide which of our neighbors get to stay and which folks get disappeared. And Also, just who gets to make what decisions over your healthcare. Right now, we are witnessing healthcare executives rake in incredible profits while most of us are deciding whether or not we can even afford to maintain health insurance coverage. That's really what this is all about.
I want to go back to this campaign, this situation, though, just because I think this information came right after your announcement, and that the websites were redirecting and such. But I mean, to me, and I think to everybody else, that says his campaign was ready for you to enter this race, and other folks had entered it. How do you feel about that response to you? Oh, I mean, I guess it's not a calculated response, but they knew it was coming.
They knew it was coming, and instead of reaching out and saying, hey, let the best person win, which is, by the way, P.S., what they said in 2019.
The Hickenlooper campaign to you.
Well, to the primary candidates back in 2019, 2020, when he first entered. Now, suddenly, there has been this incumbent protection program really instituted that seeks to say, no, young lady, aim elsewhere, right? I heard from a number of folks who said, Julie, you're great. Why not primary Diana DeGette? When P.S., there are 3 qualified women in that race, and Diana DeGette, Milat Quiros, and Wanda James, and they will all Denver will discern and make the right decision in that race. But to say, don't challenge the man who has voted for 10 different Trump nominees, instead, point your direction where there are already multiple qualified women, and go ahead and challenge the dean of the Colorado congressional delegation. That's fine. I'm sorry. In what world is that okay? If you trust the voters, you don't have to engage in these sorts of online tricks, or you don't have to try to dissuade a qualified senadora from running. Do you know what I mean? And you have the opportunity to just say, you know what? Let the best person win. That's not the message coming from his camp, which I think actually demonstrates the strength and the power of our momentum. And it's also, P.S., why I haven't gotten back to all of the messages and the DMs and the texts. I'm working on it.
So you brought this up, but let's talk about it. You've been critical of Hickenlooper for approving Trump's appointees, but I feel like as a legislator, you've always been known to work with Republicans and collaborate with people you disagree with. Have you had a change of heart?
No, I said this when I first won the primary in 2018 to serve in the Colorado State Senate. I sat down with the incoming Senate President, Leroy Garcia, and I told him at the time, we were over at Racine's, P.S. R.I.P.
Don't have to tell me.
Light a candle. But we sat down and I said, look, here's all you need to know about me. You stab me in the front and we're good. Be clear, be direct, and be honest with me, and we will find a path forward. But if y'all stab me in the back, we've got problems. And in so doing, I have been always clear about my values and how I show up to this work. And because of that, I've actually built really great relationships with Republicans. I've often said, look, broken watches can be right twice a day. And we can find those points of agreement in being clear about who we are and what our motivations are for advancing these policies.
So how would that be different than, I know that Hickenlooper has said, I did that because I'd like to keep the door open. Like I knew these appointees would go through anyway. How do I keep the door open to have conversations across the aisle? How would that be different from your approach?
I see the votes that to confirm 10 different Trump nominees as being an abandonment of the type of leadership that Colorado now expects and demands of our elected officials. And that, to me, to go and vote for the Secretary of Agriculture, who is now literally playing games with people's lives and saying, well, if you're from a blue state, we're going to withhold your SNAP benefits, right? Like, I'm sorry, that is what good did that yes vote actually mean for hungry kids in Colorado? That is a shame.
So you feel like take a stand, even if it means the Trump administration or the GOP won't return Hickenlooper's phone calls?
I think that is our job. I think it is our job, actually, to hold the Trump administration to account. It is the job of a U.S. senator to be able to say no and still maintain relationships. It is the job of a U.S. senator to be able to be clear, be direct, stab you in the front and not in the back. And that's exactly how I have navigated my entire career, both outside and inside of the Capitol.
So let's say the Dems don't retake the Senate in 2026 as is expected. What's a bill that you'd run or an issue that you would take up that would help Coloradans and that you think could get the Trump and the GOP on board with?
Absolutely. You know what? I think that both Donald Trump and I agree that our immigration system is fundamentally broken. We have incredibly different ways on advancing what solutions look like. But I know that you take Trump out of the equation, both Republicans and Democrats agree that that deporting people indiscriminately actually causes more harm than good. You wouldn't believe the types of hushed, whispered phone calls I get from my Republican colleagues saying, well, I don't really know what happened, but I have a situation with a friend's employee dealing with some immigration things. And I say, all right, pass them over and I will have a conversation with them. Because Republicans know, because Republicans, particularly in the ski industry areas, in the farming and agriculture areas, they know that immigrants make our economy run and immigrants make Colorado strong. And finding those points of agreement seems like it may be impossible. You take Donald Trump out of the equation and you find a tremendous amount of common ground. We have been here before where Colorado has led on immigration policy, and we can do it again. One. Two, I also think that extracting the profit motive out of healthcare is actually and increasingly a bipartisan issue. I've seen it play out at the state capitol, where when we're talking about money that profits that hospitals make that then gets directed towards lobbying efforts or advertising instead of going and being directed into patient care, that's the type of policy that we can work on. Now, let me be clear. I support Medicare for all. We ought to be able to, in the richest country in the history of the world, be able to ensure that we treat every American, every Coloradan with dignity and respect by being able to advance healthcare. But in the meantime, we also ought to be able to walk and chew gum at the same time.
This episode is brought to you by Foothills Animal Shelter, which, by the way, is Colorado's largest single-campus animal agency located at 6th Avenue and I-70, just outside of downtown Golden. They serve Jeffco and partner with shelters across Colorado through their open admission, lost pet reunification, and Better Together, resources supporting pet owners in need. Plus, adoption centers are open daily. Foothills Animal Shelter provided shelter for nearly 9,000 animals in need in 2024 and helped almost 6,000 pets stay in their loving homes. So help them out today. If you give by December 31st, your donation will be matched up to $20,000 as part of their Holiday Fund campaign. Or you can support the shelter by adopting a dog. Oh, you're sending me a link to look at dogs, Paul? Oh my God, Charlie. Charlie's 9 years old. See, this is what we're looking for, a dog to be a companion for Boomhauer, because every time he goes to his dog cousin's house, he's comes back so excited, and we know he's like a pack dog by nature. And maybe this dog, Charlie, who's 9 years old, is his new friend he's been waiting for. Kiki, Boston, Kimmy. Adoption fees for adult dogs aged 1 year and up are half off through December 31st. Head to foothillsanimalshelter.org to learn more. This episode is brought to you by Denver Health. Denver Health is proud to sponsor the CityCast Denver Denver's Denver Awards. As the backbone of this city for 165 years, they are Denver's most trusted. Denver Health is more than a hospital, more than a doctor, more than a treatment. They are a community. Denver Health is your neighbor and your champion, with you for life's journey. Denver Health offers emergency care, urgent care, and primary care, as well as healthcare in more than 130 other specialties. Most major insurance types are accepted. Visit denverhealth.org/citycast to learn more. That's denverhealth.org/citycast. This episode is brought to you by Aura Frames. Now, you've heard me talk about how an Aura Frame digital picture frame is the best gift, but let me just give you a list. Wirecutter, The Strategist, Wired, PC Mag, Good Morning America, The Today Show, Forbes, The Wall Street Journal, and literally over 400 more. They all recommended Aura Frames in their gift guides in 2024 alone. Listen, as humans, it took us thousands of years of giving each other stuff, but I think we finally did it. We actually have created the perfect gift. It's the Aura Frame. And now, for a limited time, save on the perfect gift by visiting auraframes.com to get $35 off Aura's best-selling Carver Mat frames using promo code CityCast at checkout. That's auraframes.com, promo code CityCast. This deal is exclusive to listeners, and frames sell out fast. So order yours now and get it in time for the holidays. Support the show by mentioning us at checkout. Terms and conditions apply. Let's talk about the Democratic Party. You told Kyle Clark earlier this week that you are not a DSA member anymore, and you now identify as a Democrat. According to a recent Magellan Strategy survey, 68% of Coloradans have unfavorable views of Democrats. What do you think is wrong with your party?
Where do you want to start? No, honestly, here's what I would say. I've always been a Democrat. I was just having this conversation with my older brother, and we were talking about the fact that my mom, when she was growing up, that she was what they called like a yellow dog Democrat, meaning that she would vote for a yellow dog before she'd go and vote for a Republican.
Oh.
And that those values espoused by, JFK and Jimmy Carter, that those were the values that my mom instilled in us, right? And so I've always been a Democrat. And I also love the work that DSA is doing in terms of engaging young people, in terms of reminding people that if you want to have a say about the future of the party, you got to also get involved and help shape the party, right? And so I love that. And they were hugely successful and were a huge reason why I got elected, right, in the first place. I joined as a demonstration of solidarity, and then my membership has lapsed, and I've been fighting the fight, regardless of whether I'm a card-carrying member or whether I'm just philosophically aligned. My sense is this. You judge me not by what comes out of my mouth, but the work that I've done, right? Words are nice. Policy and concrete action is better. And if you look at the work that I've done over my career at the state capitol and also the organizing work I've done beforehand, I think that you get a sense of who I am, fighting for economic justice, racial justice, immigrant rights and dignity, and treating all people with dignity and respect.
You brought up your family, and I wonder, you were born in Arizona, right?
Mm-hmm.
What brought you to Colorado? Why Colorado?
So my mom's side of the family goes back 6 generations in southern Colorado, down in like Walsenburg and Gardner area. And we've been here in this part of southern Colorado. My dad's side is northern New Mexico since before it was the United States, right? Like and I've heard Justine talk about this, so shout out to Justine, right? We didn't cross the border crossed us.
And Justine Sandoval, just to be clear, she's our green chili correspondent, actually, and she's also running for House District 5. But just for folks who don't know. Certainly.
And it's so my family goes back generations. When my parents got together, my mom was actually pregnant with me when my dad got a job managing 5 different ranches on the San Carlos Apache Tribes Cattle Association. And so the family joke is that I was made in Colorado and born in Arizona. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, you just mentioned ranching, and in your commercial, you ride a horse. And I have to say, I've never seen that side of you. I've only seen the lowrider side of you, which is you're sitting in your husband's lowrider in the commercial. But is that something that's part of who you, I mean, are you a horse rider? I guess. Are you a horse? Did you have horses growing up?
I did. My horse's name was Peaches, and she had a little foal named Venus. My dad.
So you're a horse girl. Okay.
Yeah.
For the record.
Horse girly, 100%. No, like my dad managed 5 different ranches for the San Carlos Apache tribe until I was 10. And then when I was 10, we moved down to the San Pedro Ranch down in deep South Texas. And we moved there in the summer of 1993. For the history nerds, you may remember that in January 94, NAFTA was enacted, right? And so, yes, did I grow up on a ranch 30 miles from town that was right on the U.S.-Mexico border? Yes. And so did I adopt all of the, sick calves and take care of all of the horses and, do all of that? Absolutely. That's part of who I am. That's part of my story. It's also part of my family's history and story, right? And so that to me is what I think is exciting about this moment, where you know what? It doesn't matter what letter is behind your name. DRU. It matters who you are and how you show up, not only when things are easy, but particularly when things are hard.
This is such an interesting piece of you that I didn't know. And I think a lot of folks will be interested to know that, because we associate you so much with work in Denver. But you are, looking to represent the whole state, which includes a lot of different kinds of communities. Let's move on back to some more policy-related questions. Hickenlooper helped secure $40 billion in federal funding for Colorado under Biden's CHIPS Act to help kickstart a quantum tech industry here. Would you have pushed for that too?
Absolutely.
Why?
Because I think that always the opportunity to create good paying jobs here in Colorado, that's always a good thing, right? I'm not going to knock the positive steps that the senator has done, right? I also think that in Colorado is a demonstration of a baseline type of leadership, right? Securing federal funds, that is part of your baseline obligation here as an elected representative in Washington, D.C.
What are the positive things or positive steps that Hickenlooper has taken, do you think?
I think that he has always been a thoughtful and positive kind of guy. I met with him 3 weeks right after Trump was elected the second time, right? November 2024. And we were concerned. There were 3 members of the Latino caucus who sat down and met with him for just a few minutes before he offered a welcoming at an event. And we shared how incredibly concerned we were about the mass deportation scheme that Donald Trump had promised and had named Operation Aurora. And the senator said, work hard, be nice, and never give up. That was his advice to me, and I appreciate that level of positivity. Look, we were asking, what is the plan? What are we all collectively going to do? And good senator didn't have much of one. And so we took action here in Colorado to really reaffirm that look, the Constitution protects us all. I don't care where you were born. And ICE has to play by the same rules that every other law enforcement agency in the state and across the country has to abide by as well. And so we passed those immigrant protections in Senate Bill 276 earlier this year, and it was signed into law by Governor Polis. Proud of that work. And that is a demonstration of the type of leadership that we can get done if we fight for the leadership that we deserve.
So what would be your approach or plan to immigration on the national level if you were elected?
Look, we are witnessing right now $50,000 sign-on bonuses to go and work for ICE. And we are seeing the fact that that is having devastating impacts on our communities. Just down in Walsenburg, again, where my family is from, there have been weekly protests taking place since this plan was first announced, that potentially the Werfeno County Correctional Center down in Walsenburg, Hudson Correctional Center, right, these old, long-shuttered, formerly private prisons, right, could be reopened as immigration detention facilities. I think that that is a terrible use of our tax dollars. I think it's an inhumane system that the Trump administration is seeking to put forward. And instead, it is like, how do you actually fix the system?
Yeah, what is your actual strategy for that? It's a big system.
Absolutely.
Like you said, it's employing people.
100%. One, enact comprehensive immigration reform. Two, hire immigration judges and give them the discretion that they need in order to evaluate equities and harms, right, that someone may have in their application to decide whether or not they should be able to stick around or not, right? But we have seen that instead, the mass deportation agenda of Donald Trump is just lock them up if they look brown or if they speak Spanish and figure it out later. That type of policy has led to longstanding citizens, like folks like me, right? Native folks, to be swept up in their deportation dragnets. And that is just fundamentally un-American. We absolutely can demand better. And I think more and more, both Democrats and Republicans recognize that this linking of immigration and crime is a false narrative. And particularly now, given the data that is coming out about his mass deportation agenda, the vast majority of immigrants are far more likely to be victims of crime and not to be perpetrators of it.
I want to pull back and look at Colorado again. What are the industries you think will drive Colorado's economy in the future, and how would you help them thrive?
Absolutely. Look, working people built this state, and working people should be able to enjoy the benefits of Colorado's thriving economy. And yet we have both a tax system that is in Tabor that fundamentally means that we can't have nice things. 2/3 of the school districts in the state of Colorado operate on 4-day school weeks, which is atrocious. I'm so excited to vote yes on the ballot initiative that is being spearheaded to tax the rich and ensure that they pay their fair share, so that we actually can fund some of the basics, the essentials, like education, healthcare, transportation, right? And furthermore, not only here in Colorado, but federally, our tax policy right now, given H.R. 1, we have seen the tax policy bend towards giving the wealthiest tax breaks. No, if you actually flip the script and ensure that the wealthy are paying their fair share, not only here in Colorado, but across the country, we can afford things like Medicare for all, universal care for children and for elders, right? We can actually go and pay people not just a living wage, a thriving wage.
Well, let's talk about that. Yeah, like what kinds of job, what does that economy look like?
Sure. Thank you. So part of this, particularly here in Colorado, we have both an agriculture history and economy, but we also have such a broad and strong and vibrant service sector economy, right? If you think about here in Denver, restaurant workers, hotel workers, the industry folks, right, who work at making spaces and venues in the arts and in theater and in music and all of these different types of aspects of our economy that then makes Colorado really thrive. You look at along the service sector economy, particularly along the I-70 corridor for the tourism industry, and you understand that working people are the folks who make our state run. And yet I talk to teachers who along the I-70 corridor who say, I have to live 3 towns away before I can even rent a room in a house that I can afford. And that just isn't, that's just fundamentally wrong.
Okay. I'm going to ask you just a off-the-wall question. Who's the best senator Colorado's ever had?
I would say Ken Salazar.
Okay, why?
Because he demonstrated what leadership for folks who have too often, been completely forgotten or just taken, or whose votes have been taken for granted. He has demonstrated what it looks like and to lead for those folks and to bring everyone else along in an inclusive and positive way. I wish I could say that, I wish I could name a woman, right? Colorado is one of the 4 states that has never elected a woman to be either governor or sent to the U.S. Senate. And that for me is a ceiling that I'd like to shatter. But I want to say, seeing Ken Salazar first serve as the first Latino senator has been just a point of joy.
And he was a United States Senator from Colorado from 2005 to 2009, and then the Secretary of Interior under Obama. Okay, one last question. There's another big race that everyone is talking about outside of yours, and I want your take on it. Bennett versus Weiser for governor. Who's your pick?
Look, I have worked with them both. I have fought with them both. I have pushed them both. And we have agreed and we have disagreed on certain occasions. And I think that both Weiser and Bennett bring forward incredible qualifications to the race.
But you can't have both.
I know. You know what? On this, I trust the voters.
Okay, fair enough. Senadora, thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thanks so much.
That's all for today here on CityCast Denver. If you enjoyed this show, why not take a minute to tell a member of the Democratic Socialists of America about us? Rate the show wherever you get your podcasts and subscribe to our morning newsletter and learn more about us at denver.citycast.fm. And hey, a special thank you to our new neighbors, Patrick G., Emily L., Retta L., Susan L., Tristan D., Ashley J., Denise M., Jerry N., and David O., who all just joined our membership program. You can support this show and get great perks by becoming a CityCast Denver neighbor today, like right now at membership.citycast.fm. And again, you get that cool beanie. We'll be back tomorrow with more news from around the city. See you then.
I think right now, the Republican Party is in the midst of, how should I say this, FAFO, in terms of suffering the consequences of their own actions.
FAFO?
Fuck around and find out.
Okay. I was like, I don't know that acronym. Okay.
Did you know CityCast Denver has a perks program? Every week, we're highlighting some standout deals from our favorite businesses in town to help you support local and save some money. It's a win-win. Here are some highlights from this week. Visit any Topo Designs retail store and mention this ad to receive 20% off your purchase. Some exclusions apply. But you can get this deal through February 1st, 2026. Or saddle up for an intergalactic adventure at the Adultiverse Space Rodeo on January 17th, where you can experience the worlds of Meow Wolf Denver transformed into a 21 and up psychedelic party. Use code GiddyUp for $4.20 off an Adultiverse ticket. Offer available for redemption now through January 17th, 2026. Or check out Green Door. You can pre-order a curated cannabis box for your next Denver trip. Includes edibles, snacks, and local accessories, ready for pickup. No stress, no lines, just a better trip. Use code DenverPerk for $10 off any experience box. To see a full list of participating businesses, just visit denver.citycast.fm/perks. It's a great way to check out new restaurants, shops, and events in your city without breaking your budget. And I think that rules.